Hi everyone, Benoy here, Benoy and Ike, and we want to share in about 30 minutes or less a topic that really has impacted us and has tremendous value, we believe, for you as well. And we wanted to label this one the How to Get Rid of the Recurring Cough podcast. Ike is laughing already. It's about stress. And in this particular episode, we want to talk about this experience Ike had as the story. I've got lots of it too. And let's talk about stress. That starting a business is hard. We're volunteering to do hard things. But how do we really manage this hard? Because in the real day and everyday battle, it's not that easy. Huh, Ike?
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh my gosh.
Tell,
Oh my
tell them a
gosh.
story. Tell them what you were experiencing.
Yeah. Just for the context, I think my coughs, my lingering coughs, got worse and worse towards the end. Like the first 7 years of bootstrapping was really hard. Like we had near death situations, like with the payrolls and all that. But I was finally like I had this maybe naivety that it was all gonna work out and all that. Then raise money from VCs, start scaling the company, hire a bunch of executives, and then um, we need to raise money from investors. The second product is coming; it's not working. You know, the economy, the 2022 economy, like the credit crunch is coming down. I start to have really tough time um, with all the weight on my shoulders. And even though like I think I was putting in a good show for the employees because they need it. Bino, if you remember, you taught me something. Um, like if an employee comes and I'm like frowning,
Yeah.
like they don't want to see that, right? Like they like so. It's like I just found it like, oh, I'm just deep in thoughts, and all that. But behind the scenes, you would know, like I would get sick, like when my kids go to school, they pick up something, and I would get sick, and I would be miserable for 2 weeks, and then I get better somehow, somewhat, then the cough lingers for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and you and I would call like after maybe several weeks. You still have that cough? Like it's because of the stress. Stress. The like in contrast now, I have a new startup. It's not easy. There's not an army of people doing the work for me anymore. I am doing hands-on, like getting my hands dirty. And there's technical challenges. There's, the financial challenges, like all of that. Like when you're starting the finding beta customers and trying to get a meeting with them, after three more postponing from the VP that you're trying to work with. There's so much, but things are a little different now. Right? I have a good stress, not the bad part.
Hmm.
I have the drive to solve problems, to build some things, but it doesn't weigh on me. Um, maybe as a person, like maybe un poquito. I improved my fears a little bit about like that. This is not about me failing. You know what I mean? Like there is no question about it. To give an example, there's a little story about it. I was having a coffee with a friend of mine a few days ago, and he goes, he's never done a startup before. He goes, Ike, what if it doesn't work? Like, what if this startup fails? Have you talked to your wife? Like, how are they thinking about this? Like, you're putting all your money, energy, and all that stuff. And I told him, well, the question doesn't make sense. Like, I cannot compute that question because it will work. I will make it work. The It doesn't exist the other way around. It just shows, well, like it might, like everybody knows, it might, like some, some external force can come and all that. But I know I'm committed. I'm gonna do all my everything I have to make this work. Um, and if necessary, I'm gonna get help from others. But the difference is, it's not me, like I am not a failure anymore. It's not. It's like, if this doesn't work out, I'm gonna do everything I can, and I'm gonna enjoy this stressful journey. But it's not me fail. Like, it's not. I'm not a failure. The difference is,
Yeah.
I might fail, but I am not a failure.
So, how are you going to explain, or how would you suggest to someone who hasn't had yet financial windfall from an exit, a good exit, when everything that they do have is limited, they put it into the business? How are you going to? What would you recommend that they do to manage that stress and that worry and that the value being tied to the performance of their baby?
So I'll tell you a few things, but you help me with many of these. So please give your suggestions as well.
Sure.
So there are a few things that comes to my mind that jumps right out. Um, One is, it's a skill that you need to improve and develop. You cannot just turn it on off, or it's not, that doesn't come with the birth. So for
Mm,
example, um, a um, a mistake happened, a fallout happened with one strategy, one action, right? It used to be like, for 2 weeks I would be depressed, I would be angry, I would remind myself that, and what happened, and all the time live in the past for 2 weeks. What did I do? I worked on it. I worked on it and said, okay, I became my own coach, and I had my own coach named Benoy. Um, and over time, that 2 weeks became 1 week, became 3 days, became
yeah.
2 days. Um, it still happens
Sure.
today. It may be half an hour, it may be 1 hour. On good days, in 15 minutes, I'm out and running like 100%. That's I think that's one thing I tell to the first time founders: work on it. It's just improve. It's just like anything else. And most founders, I think, I was like that. I'm in it for the journey, like this journey, or of uh, building, learning something new, because the company is going through new stages every day, and it's like, go
Hmm.
ups and downs. So you have to recognize that, and then just use those to improve yourself, and then those zigzags will be less,
Yeah.
smaller, and you're not going to be stuck in the dip that long.
Yes. Yes. Good for you. Understand. It is so hard though when you're in the fight to think
Yes.
outside of the box. I've had too many stories of my own where I spent time uh, almost taking a whip and just whipping myself for not having done it better, or blaming everybody else. I blame everybody else for the predicament of not hitting the quarterly number. It was all mine and the team, but I blamed somebody else because it felt better temporarily to deflect the pain and have a little bit of, I'm better than that because you suck and I'm better than you, but I'm skirting the issue. I was skirting
Yeah.
the issue. And I'm advising many CEOs, what's your daily routine to put the oxygen mask on? Because ultimately, you can't manage any stress if you haven't had enough sleep, enough good food, enough outdoor exercise activities, enough social engagements with loved ones and friends. And all of these get neglected as the first thing. All of
Yeah.
this gets neglected as soon as you get involved and are passionate. Worse, you have to make it work out of fear because your value is tied and you neglect the basic hygiene of taking care of yourself. My wife's just the other day, I just came in through, parked the car, came in, she opened the door and she says, "Oh, you exercised today." I go, How could you tell? And she says, "You're smiling." I said, "Oh, okay. It's working." Right? Back to
Yeah,
that kind of thinking face. She just says, "Oh, you exercised today." I said, "How can you tell? You're smiling."
yeah,
So I have to have those basics taken care of. Otherwise, how can you move forward? And that gets neglected because I got to make it work. I got to make it work. So my first advice is put the oxygen mask on yourself. Otherwise, you can't even think outside of the box when you
yeah,
need it the most.
yeah.
When you agree?
The, I agree, 100%, 100%. Because in startup world, you are dedicated. You are solving problems. You are 100% committed, and it's gonna go on for a long time. There is no life work balance. If
Yeah.
you're looking for that, this is not the place, right?
Yeah.
Um, but and I think about my startup all day long. Even when I'm going to sleep, I think about it. I solve some problems in the morning, at night. Like I do it all the time, but I learned to create some spaces
Mm.
throughout the day so that I
Mhm.
can, like as you say, get an oxygen mask. Whether it's my one wheel or motorcycle or
Right.
whatever,
That's right.
right? You just take those, but you have to understand we are not talking about easing or ignoring the problems or solving them halfway or temporarily. You have to solve them at the core, and that coach needs to tell you that.
In the end, the ability to manage and juggle all those balls, it is exciting. It is exciting. There's no doubt. I hate being bored. I love
Yeah,
creating. I hate maintenance. I love
yeah,
creating.
yeah.
But you're right. There comes a point where the energy derived from complex juggling has to be balanced. You mentioned the one wheel motorcycles, and we've
Snowboard.
had this snowboarding. We've had this discussion before.
Yes.
Um, Part of my solution is yes, it is a very long term um, Ironman sort of intense race, and yet for me, so item number 4 for me for managing stress was I had to find micro bursts of a hobby or a passion that just got my head out of business only, right? So whether it was learning to snowboard, going to take a half hour motorcycle ride, learning how to play a song on the guitar, a new song that
Hmm.
required concentration. Whenever you do something that requires you got to concentrate on your bicycle, motorcycle. You're dead otherwise, right?
Yeah, yeah,
The,
yeah,
the
exactly.
very element of focusing on allowed the brain to rest from the normal fight, and it gave and that my quick story is after having built up so many businesses, even amongst that, in particular, there was one really hard negotiation where we were selling a business, but I took off to Everest Base Camp with my fourth child because that's how I
Hmm.
re-energize, and that's how I. And so my business partner was incredulous. You're taking off now? I said, "Yeah, I booked this a long time ago. Booked this a long time ago. I'm keeping it. You can take care of this, the last bits, right?"
Yeah, yeah.
And it was a necessary. And for me, again, that one's a little bit more long term, but micro bursts of focus on anything that is not business, I think is healthy. Helps you manage the stress, cleans things up. It's almost
Yeah.
like a good night's sleep, except you're awake concentrating on something else.
Yes, like you, it's key for me that it requires a lot of concentration because
Yeah.
I think about the business and its challenges and how to solve them constantly throughout the day. So what I needed was something I can focus on, otherwise I'm gonna die. And in that case, it was the snowboarding. Like you and I did that for a